Hi, if you don't know me already, my name is Kaylee. I am a gut health nutrition coach. I help people to overcome their chronic gut and digestive issues using the principles of ancestral nutrition and holistic health principles as well. So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about what causes gas and bloating and how to cure it. So first of all, what causes gas and bloating? So this is caused by microbes in your gut producing the gas. So they produce gas when they are digesting food and fermenting the food. So this gets a lot worse with particular microbes in your gut. So when your gut is imbalanced, this is called gut dysbiosis, when you have lots of pathogenic bacteria and microbes but not enough of the good ones, then you get a lot more gas because those pathogenic bacteria really like producing gas. So if you have an imbalance in your gut bacteria, you are going to get a lot more gas production. Another thing that can cause this is eating too much fiber. We don't digest fiber. Fiber moves right on through us, and when it's in the large intestine and the gut microbiome is working on digesting this, or at least somewhat, they're eating it and getting a little bit out of that, and then the rest is going to come out in your stools. But anyway, when this is happening, that's when more gas production can happen. So if you have gut dysbiosis and you pair that with excess fiber intake, you get a lot of gas. So those are two huge things, and there's one more big reason for getting a lot of gas and bloating, and that's just poor digestion overall. Because if you're not digesting your food properly, if you're not chewing your food thoroughly, if your stomach acid is not strong enough to break down your food properly, if you are not producing enough digestive enzymes to break down your food properly, if you aren't releasing enough bile to break down your fat, if you're not doing this, then you get excess undigested food coming into your large intestine, and even your small intestine too, but mainly in your large intestine. And this undigested food, even if it's not fiber, your gut bacteria is going to work on eating. They eat any of the scraps that are left over. And again, this can cause a lot of gas production, especially if you have gut dysbiosis. So all the bacteria in there produce a little bit of gas, but those pathogenic ones produce extra gas. And when we give them extra food, by giving them extra fiber or just extra undigested food, they have a field day and they produce a lot of gas, and that's what causes that bloating. So how do we fix this? Well, first we gotta balance our gut microbiome. So we gotta get that bad pathogenic bacteria population down and the good bacteria population up. So a huge way to do this is to introduce more good bacteria. And you probably heard before, but fermented food is great for this. So if you have yogurt, kefir, any kind of fermented dairy like that, even sour cream, homemade is always best for these. If you don't have homemade, that's okay, but if you want the cream of the crop, like homemade kefir is it. But it also doesn't have to be dairy, especially because I know sometimes people can't tolerate dairy with the current state of their gut health. So fermented veggies are excellent as well. They are actually really simple to make at home. Fermented veggies and sauerkraut are, and it's way cheaper than buying it at the store, but you're welcome to buy it at the store as well. So fermented foods are going to help to increase the good bacteria population in your gut. We also want to avoid anything that wipes out a large portion of the bacteria, because that gives an opportunity for whatever wants to grow, and that kind of leaves things up to chance, and oftentimes the bad bacteria overgrow when a lot gets wiped out. So to backtrack a little bit, what I mean by this is things like antibiotics actually wipe out a large chunk of our gut microbiome, and then, sorry, flies are all around here. And then after that, it's very common to get gut dysbiosis. So avoiding things like taking antibiotics, using those soaps that are antibacterial, just being like over sanitizing, hand sanitizers, that kind of stuff is not good for our gut. Yeah, so avoiding those kind of things and get plenty of good probiotics in through fermented foods. That is the biggest thing you can do. There are other things, but those are just the two main giant things to do to rebalance your gut bacteria. Also avoid eating like junk food, because that feeds the bad stuff, especially sugar. If you eat a lot of sugar, that feeds like candida, which causes all sorts of other issues, and it just kind of feeds the pathogenic bacteria. Oh, and alcohol is not great either. It wipes out good stuff, feeds bad stuff. So yeah, so avoid alcohol and avoid sugar and avoid junk food and processed food, and your gut bacteria will thank you. Another thing to do is to find your fiber sweet spot. So you'll probably hear me talk about this a lot, but some fiber is good. Fiber has some benefits. It helps with detoxing in our gut. It binds to old bile, so it helps flush that out, which leads to kind of a liver cleanse. So fiber can be beneficial. Yeah, it can help. Some people find they do well with a little bit of fiber for their bowel movements. Yeah, but if you watched my previous video, you'll know that lots of fiber is not great if you've got IBS, if you've got chronic constipation, if you've got gut issues. A lot of fiber can cause a lot of problems. And like I was just talking about, too much fiber can cause a lot of gas and bloating. So you want to find your fiber sweet spot, which is probably going to be less than you think. It's not going to be like tons of veggies and whole grains all the time. You don't need that. Yeah, so find your fiber sweet spot. It's probably on the lower end, but just experiment with your fiber intake. And fiber is going to be found in plant food, so it's mostly in veggies and grains and stuff like that. Yeah, so then my last tip, which you'll probably hear a lot, is to support your entire digestive system. So if everything's working well, you're going to have less problems at every other stage in your digestive tract. So yeah, relax when you eat, enjoy your meals, eat nutrient-rich foods so that your body can produce the digestive enzymes you need to digest. You know, don't eat while you're stressed. Yeah, do those kinds of things and eat your fermented foods. And yeah, I'll talk more about this kind of stuff, but really support your whole digestive system and your whole gut. And yeah, you will have a healthier microbiome. You won't be having that undigested food come into there. Also eat foods that are easy to digest. Don't eat really hard to digest foods. So, you know, let's see, like bread, a cold sandwich is going to be kind of hard to digest. Quinoa is kind of hard to digest. Raw nuts are hard to digest. Really think nuts, legumes, seeds, grains that are not properly prepared. So if they're not soaked or sprouted or fermented, or roasted at the very least, if they're not any of those things, they're going to be really hard to digest. So avoid those foods. Those will lead to lots of gas and bloating. And also some people will find that cruciferous veggies, so things like cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, things of that nature, cabbage as well. A lot of people find those can leave them a little bit gassier. So if you are noticing a lot of gas, you might mess with kind of limiting those or maybe cutting them out for a little while and see if that makes any difference. But yeah, so basically to recap this, gas and bloating is caused by your gut bacteria, primarily the pathogenic ones, when your gut bacteria is not in balance, producing gas when they eat foods, primarily lots of fiber and undigested foods. So the main things you can do are to rebalance your gut microbiome by eating lots of fermented foods and avoiding things like antibiotics and over sanitation, and then to find your fiber sweet spot, and also to just support your entire digestive system and gut health. So those are the main things. I used to get really bad bloating. Yeah, I had the big, you know, lower belly baby kind of bloating, and I don't get any bloating anymore. So bloating is not normal. I know a lot of people say it's normal. It's not normal. You shouldn't get bloated. And you don't have to. So these are the things that worked for me. These are the things that work for my clients, and I hope they help you as well. And yeah, if you like this video, if you found it helpful, share it around with anyone else that you think might benefit from it too. And if you want to like it or comment or subscribe, that helps me out a lot as well. And yeah, I will be sharing more videos in the future about gut health, digestive health, and ancestral nutrition. So yeah, thank you for watching.